Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and today is Tuesday, May the 31st, 2016. And I have the very great honor and pleasure of welcoming back to the show the Doc from Silver Doctors and SD Bullion. And SD Bullion is a great supporter of the Daily Coin. And please consider SD Bullion for your next acquisition of silver and gold. And not only does the doc have all that going on, he's got the News Doctors, where you will find Eric Dubin doing a marvelous job of not only gathering great reports from around the world, but Eric's original work as well. Welcome back, Doc.
Yeah, it's great to be back, Rory.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you're here, and not to take up any time, I'm just going to jump right in. And do you believe, Doc, the U.S. Mint's rationing of Silver Eagles is driving sales of not only the silver maple leaf, which they had a new first quarter record, but the Perth Mint's silver kangaroo as well? And what do the numbers at SD Bullion indicate?
Sure. As far as your question, is the Mint's rationing driving sales at the other coins? I mean, the answer is yes. Not to quite the extent that it was back in, say, Q3, Q4 of 2015. Especially the Perth Mint coins. I mean, you saw a massive amount of those Perth kangaroos sold the second half of last year when, frankly, Silver Eagles and Silver Maples were hard to get. And so, I mean, the Perth Mint sales have slowed down quite a bit here in the first half of 2016, but everything else the demand is very strong. Silver Eagles, I mean, look at the Mint's numbers. We're not even in June here. We're recording the last day of May, and they've sold just shy of 23 million coins. I mean, outside of the last couple of years, 23 million coins would shatter their all-time sales record. So we're on pace to put in a new record for what was that going to be, the third year in a row for the U.S. Mint?
Yep.
I mean, they're on pace right now for just shy of 60 million coins. The Canadian Mint just came out and released their Q1 numbers. They're on pace to, I think off the top of my head, I think it was about 40 million coins, which is really what the U.S. Mint had been cranking out. So you're looking at just shy of 100 million between those two government coins, the Silver Maple and the U.S. Silver Eagle. And we're not talking about anything else even that those official mints make, such as like the ATB coins for the U.S. Mint, and the Royal Canadian Mint produces lots of other things. They have their Predator series that they're selling 1 million coins of per coin. They have 10-ounce RCM bars. They have 100-ounce RCM bars that, I mean, there's a lot of ounces of bullion moved in just in those two products. The Royal Canadian Mint here next week is going to be releasing a new Superman bullion series with 1 million coins. I'm sure that'll sell out too. So, I mean, it's not just Silver Maples and Silver Eagles. And so, I mean, just the two mints, they're going to on pace to be well over 100 million ounces in 2016. And that's just two official government mints. You're not even talking about the rest of the world's government mints, much less any of the private mints, which, I mean, our total sales are probably at least 50% of private mints versus the official mint coins.
Really? It's that high?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about all the different rounds, whether they're low premium rounds, artistic collectible rounds, 5-ounce bars, 10-ounce bars, 100-ounce bars. I mean, there's just a much bigger diversity in the market when it comes to the private sector, just like everything in the government.
You had mentioned the Royal Canadian Mint 10-ounce bar, and I know that, or I don't believe that the U.S. Mint produces a 10-ounce bar. I know that the
U.S. Mint doesn't produce any official bars right now, at least as far as bullion. No,
but the America the Beautiful, the ATB, that's a 5-ounce coin, and my question is that do you guys move a lot of the 10-ounce bars? Just in general, I mean, because I met with a couple of my local coin dealers over the weekend, and they were saying that that's one of the most popular items, period. And would you concur with that, or what do you see?
Yeah, I mean across the whole field, 10-ounce bars are very popular. I think probably the most popular 10-ounce bar that we see as far as volume moved are those 10-ounce Sunshine bars, and the premium's quite a bit better than the Royal Canadian Mint 10-ounce bars, which is probably why you see that. But those are probably our two best-selling 10-ounce bars, are the Sunshine 10-ounce bars and the Royal Canadian Mint 10-ounce bars. And yeah, we move a lot of volume in both of those.
Okay, well, that confirms what I've been told. And I know you speak with several of the authorized purchasers, Doc. And for the Silver Eagles, are you hearing or are you getting any kind of indication that these guys are stockpiling any of their acquisitions, or is the demand as such as that they're just able to, if they're able to stockpile any, it would be very little? I mean, are you hearing anything along those lines, or is it all just being pushed out?
Yeah, it depends on the authorized purchaser, because I mean each one's their own entity and they have their own how their company structure, whether they have a board or a president or you know what I mean. So each one has their own decision making, and for example, an A-Mark's going to have a different policy than maybe one of the smaller APs. Definitely, there's numerous of the APs after seeing what we went through in 2015 and having so many customers that they just literally didn't have any metal for them. They've made a strategic decision that we want to stack up on silver to make sure that we have silver available for our customers the next time a shortage develops. So I think for those a few APs and dealers that we talk to, they have been able to, even though Silver Eagles are still under allocation and the U.S. Mint is still restricting how many coins you can call them up and buy each week. The guys we talk to, they have been able to stash aside what they believe is sufficient, at least for what they can carry. And obviously, it's very expensive to do that because there's interest in carrying costs and vault storage fees. It's not free to do that. So, but they want to do everything possible. I mean, just like we do at SD Bullion, you want to do everything possible to make sure you can meet your customers' needs during that time. But the great thing about the market is that's how the market works. When that happens, next time we see a really big run on the metals, the market's going to be able to keep bullion in supply much better for investors than it did the last time, because private companies, private individuals see that opportunity and respond to it. They change their plans accordingly. They want to be able to have coins to sell to investors. So now that doesn't mean that the market can't still totally overwhelm that supply, but as opposed to the government sector where the U.S. Mint and the Canadian Mint hasn't made any changes.
Right.
That's just what you can see for the private market versus the public sector. Whereas,
Exactly.
I mean, take the U.S. Mint for example. You would think that after record demand in 2015, and I mean it's been over a year now that they haven't been able to keep up with demand. They've got two mints. They've got a West Point Mint and a San Francisco Mint. You would think that they would either maybe start running overtime, or heaven forbid, we reopen up the San Francisco Mint that's been shut for a year and a half. But no, they don't do anything. So,
Nope.
so that's just my point. The private market is the same as anything. Private market sees an opportunity and responds to meet that opportunity or that need for investors. Investors have a need for silver when the market's tight. So the private market responds to provide silver. Again, it doesn't mean that as we get further along in what I believe is a new bull market here, that investor demand cannot and will not completely overwhelm that stored up supply. Because, I mean, in the big scheme of things, we're still talking a rounding error in the available funds. If smart money and a little bit of the general public decides to put their money into metals, I mean, we've seen all these shortages and the mints not be able to keep up with demand, with the general public having nothing to do with the sector whatsoever. So if the general public would become involved, these changes the mints and APs and dealers have made are not going to do anything to to stem that tide.
And as you speak with the authorized purchasers of Silver Eagles, do you get the sense that they're concerned about the ongoing ration sales, or what are you hearing from them um, as far as that aspect of the wholesale market? Is there any concern on their part, or is there any chatter that you hear regarding that?
I mean, probably the most interesting thing I think is that the people who are most concerned about it are those parties who want to get a piece of the action. When the U.S. Mint is on periods of allocation, they won't consider any new request to join the club and let you buy from them. So
Wow.
there's a few more recent larger players in the market that aren't able to submit any request to become an AP because the U.S. Mint isn't interested in receiving your application when they're selling out of their coins.
And premiums. I know that right now you have a big push going on with the Silver Eagles. I'm not sure how that works on when you have rationed acquisitions, but it's working and it's working quite well for you. And but outside of your situation, Doc, what's going on with premiums? Are they stable? Are they up? Are they down? What's the word?
Sure. I mean, premiums are across the industry. I mean, they're down significantly from what we saw the last 6 months of 2015. I mean, across the industry, they're not quite yet back to the levels that, say, 1 to 2 years ago they were at. We brought them back down to those levels at SD Bullion. But I mean, the rest of the players across the industry, they're still probably 30, 40 cents away. But it's still a great time premium-wise to invest in silver. You're, well, maybe not quite at the bottom. You're much nearer the bottom than what you can see in times of significant shortages.
Yep. And 90% silver. And you taught me, Doc, and I'm very grateful that that's a great indicator of what's going on with the physical market. And are you seeing, how is the availability on 90% silver? Is it stable? Is it tight? I mean, what's going on with that particular segment?
Sure. It's steady, somewhat tight, but it is available now. Premiums have come down about $1 here in the wholesale market, probably over the last 2 to 3 months. So it is available. And I guess one caveat to put is that while it is a leading indicator and it has a very good track record of that, the further we get along this bull market and as silver runs up again, I think you're really going to see really less and less available. I mean, every single day, the two main refiners in this country, they're melting 90%. And even in time periods where there's a 90% commands a big premium, I mean, recent years it's hit $3 to $5 at its high as a retail level. So even when you're talking that $3 to $5 premium, these refiners have contracts that they're not allowed to go flip the 90% and send somebody else silver. Basically, how it works is somebody will send them 5,000 face bags of 90% and have a contract to get it turned into rounds or bars or something else. So they, due to the language in the contract, they're required to actually melt down that silver and turn it into whatever the party wants it minted for. So,
wow.
I mean, every single day, the amount of available 90% out there continues to decline because it's melted day after day after day. So, I mean, at what point does it turn into the premiums we see on like Morgan silver dollars and Peace dollars that really aren't melted? I guess that's remains to be seen. But that's kind of more of a long picture.
Yeah, that's a very interesting piece of information. I didn't realize that. I knew that there was I recently learned, I should say, that there was a large scale melt, I believe in 2010, 2011, and then there was one prior to that as well. And I knew that had taken quite a bit of the coinage out of circulation and it had been re-refined. But
right, and what that was silver prices were screaming, and everybody who'd your uncle, your grandpa, who'd been holding it in their closet since the 60s when they pulled it out of circulation. They all said, wow, I haven't seen silver this high in 40 years. I'm selling it now. So a lot of it came out of
closet.
Right. It came out of the closet. And I mean, it was back then 90% was available for a small portion of time for actually under spot, if you can believe it. So
wow, that's
changed quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, every day the total amount out there keeps shrinking as it just keeps being melted.
That's incredible. And I'm on record as stating that if the U.S. Mint sets a new Silver Eagles record for 2016, that it will be very muted, to say the least. And I mean, why would the U.S. Mint at this point allow a new sales record in light of the mining story affecting future supplies and new uses for industrial silver? I mean, it seems like every day, and the demand for investment silver is continuing to climb. I mean, why wouldn't the Mint announce 7 to 8 weeks out from the end of the year that they're just going to shut down? And they've got to change the dies, and thereby not achieving a new sales record, nor having to explain anything in regards to silver supplies. I mean, why wouldn't they do that?
Well, the problem for the U.S. Mint is they do that every year, so that's it can't do too much to hurt sales year over year when they did that last year and the year before and the year before. So the numbers are still affected because they tried that trick last year too. So I certainly agree with you. They're not going to blow the numbers out of the water as far as like doubling or tripling or anything, but it certainly looks like it won't be out of the question to see the all-time sales record beaten by, say, 20 or 25%, which is for the U.S. Mint pretty astounding.
That would be, but see, I have the belief that they're going to keep it out of the news. That last year was 47 million, and I think that if it is a new record, that it's going to be, no more than a 49. I don't think they're going to allow a 50 handle to be
we'll see
to the world.
Yeah, it looks to me right now like they're probably going to be between 53 and 56 million. So really? Again, that's assuming demand continues as it's been. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very interesting once we get into late summer and fall to see how the numbers are still playing out. And then
if demand continues what it's been, Rory, in order for the Mint to prevent a 50 handle, they'd have to stop production like early November.
Yeah, I mean,
to change the dies.
Right. Well, it's a tedious process.
And that might get them more press attention than just cranking out 51 or 52 and calling it a day and patting themselves on the back.
Oh, and more of a personal question, if you don't mind, Doc, but I want to get your thoughts on some of the true investment coins. And I recently acquired a premium 1998 gold coin. It had no fingerprints, no scratches, no nothing. I mean, it looked like it came from the Mint and directly to me. And it's a low mintage coin as well. There were fewer than 170,000 of them minted. And how do you feel about graded investment coins? Are they a good idea? Does it matter? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a totally different ball game, really, than just pure bullion. We certainly offer quite a few options, both gold and silver proofs. It's not something that we steer investors towards because, while there is the bullion component, the numismatics are an entirely separate arm of the industry, and you need to know what you're looking for and want to purchase it for those reasons. Certainly, there can an argument for a portion of your portfolio to be in that segment. I personally wouldn't recommend. Say you have $10,000 to invest, I wouldn't put all 10,000 into that. Maybe a coin or two, and as your portfolio expands, maybe keep the percentages along the same. But again, that's just my own personal opinion. I'm not any licensed investment advisor, and we're not at SD Bullion, and we're not the type of company that pushes everybody into those type of products.
Right. Yeah, and
we
I
started
wasn't.
we started the business just believing that gold and silver is financial insurance in the bullion form. So that's really why we started it, because we believed in it and we wanted to help protect people. So that it doesn't mean that those type of products can't do that as well, but there's a little bit more to them than just the bullion value of gold and silver protecting against the dollar. So
Exactly, and that's why I wanted to get your thoughts on it, because I mean I respect what your approach to SD Bullion as a company and your approach to everything that I come in contact with as far as Doc Enterprises is concerned. You know, with the news doctors and silver doctors and what you have out there for the world to see, and your opinion. I value your opinion greatly. So, and I've been contemplating sending this coin off to have it graded, and I just don't know. I still don't know if I'm going to do that or not, because once again, it's a whole different dynamic of the bullion market that I'm completely unfamiliar with at this point, and I'm just now starting the education process, so
sure.
I've got a ways to go.
And one other aspect of that that's kind of a combination of those two, whether it's the U.S. Mint and their America the Beautiful coins, or the Canadian Mint has several similar things. The semi-numismatic sector, like the ATB coins, for example, when they first come out, they're released and they're minted for like a month or so, month or two usually. They have low mintages, and when they first come out, they can be had like right now. The Harper's Ferry ATB is I can't remember. I know it's under $3. I want to say like $2.50 or $2.60 or $2.70 over spot. So it's only slightly higher than a Silver Eagle. And previous releases, once they go out of production, collector value increases quite substantially on the premium side. So you have the potential for premium appreciation as well as the bullion appreciation. And the same thing for the Canadian Mint's semi-numismatic series. They've had like the Wildlife series, the Birds of Prey series. Right now I think they have the Predator series. They're coming out, as I mentioned, with the Superman series. So I personally, just my own opinion, I always like those, as typically when those series are first released,
Yes.
The premiums are really comparable to the Mint's regular bullion offerings. And there's always hits and misses to. It doesn't mean every single one the premiums are going to triple and they're going to be $40 over spot, but sometimes it happens.
It does. I've seen it, and it's in particular with the Perth Mint. The Perth Mint, you know, they do some very cool coins and some of which you carry over there, and those premiums can get up there, and they will stay there.
Right. And so worst case scenario, it's a coin that's a miss. You're still you didn't pay much more than the bullion premium in the first place. So it's almost like a win-win as far as the premium chance of appreciation.
Yeah, and just so you know, that was the case with this coin that I recently acquired. I was able to get it just over. I got it for a really good premium, low premium, which I was very grateful for. And it's I couldn't hardly believe the coin when I saw it. It was just like, oh my God. And then I started digging into it and finding out more about it. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. I mean, I need to seek some info. I'll talk to the doc about that.
And the other thing is, I mean, I'm just a big grown-up baseball card collector, and a lot of the guys I talk to, they're the same thing. So it's a little more fun investing and holding the coins when you got something that's really cool than a Silver Eagle that hasn't changed in 30 years, or a Silver Maple that they've changed the design slightly, but still we're just talking about a maple leaf.
Exactly. Yep. Cool, beautiful coins. Well, Doc, I certainly appreciate all the time and all your knowledge and wisdom. And we've been speaking with the Doc from SD Bullion, Silver Doctors, and the News Doctors. Doc, thank you for your time, and I will speak with you soon, my friend.
All right. My pleasure, Rory. Great to be back with you.
All right.